When I was a teenager, I watched an old Hindi movie. It was Hum Hai Rahe Pyar Ke. If you haven't watched it, or if you haven't heard about it, or if you do not watch Hindi cinema, that's fine. In that particular movie, let me tell you a scene. There was a cloth manufacturing firm unit, and one of the manager, he manufactured all the collars of a shirt, and then the company runs into trouble, and they ran out of clothes. So what happens? That manufacturing unit had a lot of collars, but nothing to make it a shirt. So it is an inventory which has no use, zero use. That's a waste. And that is exactly what inventory waste is. In software world, there might not be as such inventory waste because it does not cost us to put something in inventory. There is still something that we need to take care of. Now let's take an example. If we are working in a Scrum, what happens? You have a product backlog and you have a sprint backlog, right? For example, if you take that your sprint is of 2 weeks, what happens there? In 2 weeks, you put all your inventory, but this is a buffer inventory where you take it from the product backlog, which are your prioritized items, and you put it there so that you can work and achieve that goal of sprint goal within 2 weeks of time. Now it works fairly well when you have a very stable backlog, when you have the fairly stable requirement, right? But in real world, which is VUCA, that means your world is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. The client's need or the need of the business can change very frequently. Now, what if it keeps changing within your 2 weeks? What if what you want to deliver in the 2 weeks, whatever your sprint goal is not met? It's not met by the need of the business. There are new requests which are coming through, and I do understand the product owner has the right to put it into the product backlog, reprioritize it, and put it into different sprints. But sometime in real life, it doesn't work. Sometimes there could be something regulatory items, sometimes which are some production items which are very high in priority, and you need to adjust. Once in a while, it's fine. We can always put those things into a sprint without affecting our sprint goal. Maybe taking out something which is least prior from a sprints and managing that sprint backlog. But what if it's frequent? What if it's long? It's large. The changes are way too good. Now here you can use a Kanban pull system, and let's say a person who is using a Kanban pull system, and in this environment they might say whatever the buffer inventory you have is a waste because the 2 weeks time is too long for the business needs to remain stable. So in that case, it's a waste. So what you can do is you can meet frequently and plan. So you plan for the exact amount which you have. For example, you can plan for only 2 days, you can plan for only 1 week, you can plan for only 4 days, whatever it suits the need of the context. So in that case, you can come regroup and replan what you need to deliver for the next 5 days or next 2 days or next 4 days. Because if the backlog, if the inventories keep changing with the new inputs, there is no point of having a fixed sprint plan for over a long time, over 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks. So why not plan for that amount which would contribute zero waste? So that means if you have 5 days of 5 days of work which is going to be stable, you can plan for the 5 days, and at the end of the 5 days you can come back as a group and replan for the next 5 days, next 2 days. Now by doing that, you still can be with the iterations and everything. However, you can reduce your waste. Now there is an argument here. One might say, hey, we can waste so much of time while doing regrouping and all. Now that's a point, that's a valid point, that what if we are doing we are regrouping and taking so much of time in order to reduce another waste, we are introducing another waste, right? So that's a valid point only when your backlog is stable. If your backlog is stable, there is no need to do that. That's out of question, because your backlog is stable and you're doing fairly well. You can plan for the sprint backlog and go ahead. However, if your backlog is not stable, and it could be very temporary, it could be very temporary where something like that comes up. In that case, you can implement this by introducing this. And remember, it doesn't take much time to regroup and plan, because it's already been prioritized. It's already been working in your in the background. The product owner is already doing, you're already refining, and all that stuff is going on. So it should not take much time for you to do that, right? And also, this could be a temporary solution. This could be that only for 3 months or 4 months there are items which are coming in. If not, if it is continuous process where your backlog does not have any stable backlog, try to look into Kanban and see if you can work in a Kanban environment rather than in Scrum environment. Now, remember, the soul of a lean thinking is to reduce waste, right? And it has nothing to do with any frameworks. It's just a thinking, it's just a philosophy, right? Where we try to reduce waste. So even if you do not do that, if you want to put a visualization like a Kanban board, or put work in progress limit within Scrum, you still do not violate Scrum, right? The Scrum does not say that, hey, you cannot put a Kanban board, or you cannot have work in progress limit, because it's a very lightweight framework which is not very prescriptive. So remember, whatever is the nature of your work actually drives the way you want to work, right? So in case you see there is an inventory waste, you can always bring up the frequent planning to ensure that you have a very continuous delivery, and do not get stuck up into frequent change of plans, frequent distractions, or frequent change into the sprint goal. That would hamper your overall growth and overall delivery. I hope that helps. If you have any other points, please put down your comments below, and if you like the content, please like and subscribe, and I will see you soon.